Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My attention was recently drawn to certain comments made by the APNU AFC leader, opposition leader, Aubrey Norton, at a recent, I believe it was a press conference that he held, and in particular comments that he made in relation to a World Bank report. In those comments, the opposition leader cited certain poverty statistics that were referred to in the report, and he sought to use those poverty statistics to paint Guyana in a particular manner and to besmirch the track record of the People's Progressive Party civic government. I had not initially seen the press conference, but after it was brought to my notice, I watched that particular clip, and immediately recognizing that there was something inaccurate about what he was saying, I examined and looked into the matter a little bit more closely. And I wish now to share with the people of Guyana the following observations. The APNU AFC has become now globally notorious for being a party that is completely incompetent and completely inept, and in fact blatantly dishonest. It would be recalled, of course, that this is a party that watched the world squarely in its eyes and said that 33 is not greater than 32, to give perhaps the most extreme example. So to all and sundry around the world, the APNU's incompetence, ineptitude, and dishonesty would not come as a surprise. Mr. Norton's use of the World Bank poverty statistics falls squarely within this categorization, because in his haste to paint Guyana and the People's Progressive Party civic government in a negative light, he cited poverty statistics without bothering to inquire the nature of the statistics, the background to the statistics, the source of the statistics, the manner in which they were computed, the manner in which they should be interpreted, and in fact at the most basic level without even bothering to find out the year to which the statistics related. It would be of interest to the people of Guyana that the poverty statistics that were cited in that World Bank report and that Mr. Norton used as the basis to try to criticize the People's Progressive Party civic government, those poverty statistics, in fact, are statistics taken from 2019. And so, even without delving into the computation and interpretation and analysis of the statistics, if we take the statistics at face value, all of Mr. Norton's comments about the state of Guyana as using his interpretation of those statistics are in fact comments that would be applicable to the state of Guyana in 2019, because the statistics that he is citing in fact are 2019 statistics. Indeed, had he been bothered to inquire the date of the statistics, he might have been a little bit more measured in his comments, because it's widely known that in 2019, Guyana was in the throes of an APNU AFC dictatorship, refusing to recognize the results of a no-confidence motion legitimately passed in the Parliament in December 2018, bringing the economy to a complete standstill, grinding the country to a complete halt, and descending us into economic crisis. And so small wonder, and one can scarcely wonder at the fact that the entire economy was in as dismal a state as it was in 2019. And so the first point that I want to make is that the statistics that Mr. Norton is citing and the state of affairs that he is interpreting and deriving from those statistics in fact refer to a 2019 state of affairs. He either could not be bothered to verify the date to which the statistics relate, or having verified the date to which the statistics relate, could not be bothered to be honest and open and transparent with the people of Guyana to say these are 2019 numbers. In fact, he sought to misrepresent the facts to create an adverse impression about Guyana, the contemporary state of affairs in Guyana. The World Bank has since updated that fact sheet to reflect that the statistics relate to 2019. And in light of the World Bank's updating of the fact sheet to reflect that the statistics relate to 2019, Mr. Norton might wish to reconsider his comments and describe to Guyana the state of poverty in 2019 as described in that very World Bank report and as described now by those very statistics. But of course, there are also a number of other relevant factors that need to be taken into account in analyzing these issues. These include the fact that Guyana, as a result of our per capita income going up, as a result of our size of our economy growing in the manner in which it is growing, Guyana was also reclassified as an upper middle income country, which now means that the poverty line that is used, there are a lot of technical details that people need to understand when you analyze these statistics. And these include the fact that Guyana was reclassified during that period. Guyana was once we started to produce oil and our per capita income started to go up, Guyana was reclassified to an upper middle income country, which meant that a new poverty line became applicable to Guyana. And we started to be compared against different comparators, upper middle income countries. And so that also needs to be taken into account when you consider this fact. But these are technical details that, of course, Mr. Norton and his party, the APNU-AFC, either could not be bothered to acquaint themselves with because it doesn't suit their purpose to do so, or they're completely incapable and incompetent to do so, and they refuse to do so. And so that's the second point that I would like to make, that in the case of any economic statistics, one has to understand how those statistics are computed, what are the variables that influence them, how they've changed over time, the basis of measurement, etc. And this is yet another example of the quantitative and numerical and arithmetic illiteracy of the APNU-AFC, once again, by not bothering to even attempt to understand what the statistics mean, how they were computed, you know, what the reclassification of Guyana as an upper middle income country means, who the comparators are, what the benchmark against which Guyana is being measured now, the poverty line against which Guyana is being measured now, what that implies, who the comparators are, which countries we're being compared against. None of that even remotely occurred to the APNU-AFC and its leadership in their haste to paint a negative picture about Guyana. But these are not isolated instances. It is in fact my understanding that he also did the same in relation to, I believe it was a house that was constructed, one of the very few homes that were constructed under their almost non-existent housing program, where I gather that he sought to besmirch one of the homes that, like I said, one of the very few homes that they constructed under their almost non-existent housing program, criticizing the home for, I gather, its size and its configuration, when in fact it turns out that that house was actually constructed by under the APNU-AFC. And in fact, I believe my colleague in the cabinet, Minister Susan Rodriguez, has already addressed this matter in the public domain. Yet another example of the APNU-AFC and Mr. Norton in particular jumping to front, seizing something that he doesn't even know the background to, the history of, the facts surrounding it, or opportunistically and selectively choosing to ignore those facts, presenting this situation in a particular manner to convey a certain impression when in fact the facts are completely different. And so I wanted to share this. You know, this is just one example, but there are several other examples that I could cite. You know, and you know, they range from the technical to the completely absurd. You know, there was also the example of one of their MPs. I can't remember which one it was. It was one of the junior ones. I can't remember her name. There was also the example of one of those MPs trying to criticize the president's pronunciation of Turkey in a display of, yet again in a display of tragic and embarrassing APNU incompetence, not knowing that Turkey had requested the United Nations to use a new pronunciation of the name of their country, went on a grand display of their ignorance, trying somehow to cast the president in a particular light when in fact they were displaying their own ignorance, incompetence, ineptitude, and their state of being completely out of touch with the rest of the world. And I could give there dozens and dozens and dozens of examples of this that could be given, where they jump the front, try to criticize something when they don't have the least bit of comprehension what they're speaking about, or in fact, they're being completely dishonest in an attempt to mislead people. And like I said, there are dozens and dozens, if not hundreds, of such examples. The use of these poverty statistics is just the latest example, where, like I said, there is a reason why the numbers are what they are, and in particular that reason revolves around Guyana's reclassification as an upper middle income country, which means we're measured against a new poverty line and we're compared against a different set of comparator countries. But secondly, and more importantly, the statistics that Mr. Norton is using to paint a negative picture of Guyana are 2019 statistics. So he's painting a picture of Guyana under the APNU after 4 years of dictatorial misrule and economic mismanagement. And I wanted to share that with the people of Guyana and with my Guyanese brothers and sisters. So thank you very much for accommodating me, and thank you very much for listening to these brief remarks from me.